Hi, this is Galit. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be talking about bowel cancer and how diet and supplements can help you manage the disease and prevent it as well. So bowel cancer, also known as colorectal cancer, is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the United States and the third most common cancer in men and women globally. Although it is one of the most common cancers, bowel cancer is also one of the more preventable types of cancer. The risk of bowel cancer rises as you age. Poor dietary habits, physical inactivity, obesity, and smoking are risk factors for the disease. Treatment for colorectal cancer usually involves surgery. About 98% of all cases will have surgery. Also, radiation and chemotherapy. About 30% of all patients will receive those types of therapy. Surgery has a high risk of complications, depression, reduced body function, and reduced quality of life. So since over 30% of patients will experience disease recurrence even after therapy and surgery, the best way to prevent bowel cancer and to treat it is by adopting a healthy diet and lifestyle. Here are natural ways to avoid bowel cancer with diet and supplements. Number one, you want to reduce red meat consumption. Pro-inflammatory dietary components include simple sugars, simple carbohydrates, proteins, total fat, trans fat. Pro-inflammatory dietary components include simple sugars, high amounts of protein, high total fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and saturated fatty acids. Now, apart from the simple sugars, meat has every one of these pro-inflammatory elements. These pro-inflammatory compounds include heme iron, which is found in high amounts in meat, and this induces oxidative damage. N-nitroso compounds, which are potent cancer-causing agents found in processed meat and produced in the gastrointestinal tract when you consume any type of meat. Also, TMAO, trimethylamine N-oxide, is associated with blood clots, a heart attack, a stroke, and increased mortality. TMAO, trimethylamine N-oxide, is made from trimethylamine, which is generated by specific gut bacteria that break down choline and lecithin and L-carnitine, which are all found in meat. So you have this bacteria in your gut if you are consuming meat, and then you will produce trimethylamine N-oxide. Now, heterocyclic amines produced by cooking meat at high temperatures are other pro-inflammatory compounds, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are also pro-inflammatory carbons, and these also come from cooking muscle meat at high temperatures. Also, saturated and naturally occurring trans fats are other pro-inflammatory compounds that are found when cooking meat and when eating it. Many extensive epidemiological studies examined the association of red and processed meat consumption with the risk of bowel cancer, and they found that the majority of these studies found a positive association between high intake of red meat or processed meat with the risk of developing bowel cancer. Now, since red and processed meat consumption are factors that increase bowel cancer, I recommend you remove them from your diet. You may consume protein from plant-based sources. These are healthier. These include legumes such as beans, peas, and lentils. Also, soybeans and tofu are exceptionally healthy legumes for preventing and healing bowel cancer. And this is because soya isoflavone intake is very, very important. These phytoestrogens or plant estrogens come from plants, and they mimic estrogen because they have a similar structure. But phytoestrogens are not the same as human hormones, and they act differently from natural estrogens in the body. Soy products rich in phytoestrogens have anti-estrogenic effects, inhibiting the growth promoting effects of actual estrogen. Therefore, these phytoestrogenic compounds have anti-growth impact on some cancer cells. even in very low concentrations. A scientific study revealed that soya isoflavone consumption could reduce the risk of colorectal cancer by 23%, decreasing the incidence of colon and rectal tumors. I recommend adding more soy products to your diet regularly, consuming tofu, edamame, miso, and natto. Phytochemicals in fruits and vegetables and spices are very important as well. Fruits and vegetables are rich in phytochemicals that have been studied to protect against cancer. In a study on the role of phytochemicals in colorectal cancer, phytochemicals help in this cancer prevention. Turmeric, ginger, ginseng, berries, apples, peanuts, and grapes were also shown to inhibit the survival of colon cancer cells. So basically, they help kill these cancer cells. You want to eat foods. Now let me explain why. Because the environment of these cancer cells will be reduced the moment you increase the levels of your immune cells. Thereby, you make your immune cells stronger and they can fight the cancer cells better. Also, you want to eat foods that are rich in prebiotics. Prebiotics are fiber-rich foods. The gut microbiome adapts to changes in our diet and our environment. Now, extreme neglect and nutritional deficiencies, stress, and a sedentary lifestyle will lead to a loss of balance in the gut microbiome, which leads to bowel disorders, inflammatory bowel disease, and bowel cancer. Now, prebiotic-rich foods provide nourishment for the good, healthy bacteria in the gut, and they help them multiply, and this helps keep the unhealthy bacteria at bay. A team of scientists found that consumption of prebiotic-rich foods was associated with anti-cancer effects. Prebiotic-rich foods help the body detoxify also genotoxins in the gut. Genotoxins are toxins that harm genes, often causing mutations. The scientists concluded that colon cancer, which in a high proportion of the population is due to gene mutations occurring during the person's lifetime, could be retarded or prevented by preventing these mutations from occurring. Now, lactic acid bacteria and prebiotic foods that feed the lactic acid bacteria have been shown to deactivate genotoxic cancer-causing agents and prevent genetic mutations in the colon tissues. Prebiotics occur naturally in different plant-based foods, and these foods, when you consume them, will reduce your risk of colon cancer. The foods that are richest in prebiotics are onions of all types, garlic, asparagus, Jerusalem artichokes, and regular artichokes, chicory root, whole grains, soybeans, beans in general, as well as plums and grapes, and raisins. Also, fresh honey is very good, has prebiotics in it, and nuts and seeds. Now, foods you want to avoid include these foods supply nourishment for the unhealthy bacteria. These foods you want to remove. These include sugar, processed foods, animal products, and you also want to take antibiotics only when really necessary. Avoid acid blockers and unnatural sweeteners, including sucralose and anti-inflammatory medicine. These are all unhealthy for the gut microbiome. You also want to consume fiber-rich foods. These fiber-rich foods, they increase stool weight, they decrease the transit time through the colon, they dilute colon-causing, cancer-causing agents, and they decrease fat tissue. Also, they have anti-cancer properties produced by bacterial fermentation of resistant starches, which also improves insulin sensitivity. Now, all of these things happen when you consume a fiber-rich diet. You can add fiber to your diet by aiming to consume only whole grains. Instead of eating any type of bread, eat whole grain bread. Any type of rice, consume whole grain rice. Whole grain pastas. This is any whole grain, even gluten-free whole grains. Very, very important. Now, you also can add fiber by consuming legumes, fruits, and vegetables, of course. Now, there are herbal antioxidants that can inhibit oxidative stress, which leads to gene mutation and DNA damage, resulting in cancer. One systematic review carried out by a team from the Department of Biostatistics from the University of Medical Sciences in Iran concluded that increased consumption of antioxidants in the diet helps healthy people reduce their risk for colon cancer. Some powerful herbal antioxidants you can regularly include in your diet are garlic, turmeric, ginkgo biloba, ginger, cloves, oregano, nutmeg, and thyme. You can also make a tea of all of these. You can buy actually tea bags of these herbs, or you can make a tea out of them. You can add them to lukewarm water, allow these herbs to sit for a minimum of 30 minutes, and then drink it. You can drink these teas several times a week. Very beneficial in supporting you against colon cancer. Also, you want to supplement with omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids. A team from Leeds Institute of Biomedical and Clinical Sciences found that there was preclinical evidence supporting omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acid consumption in preventing and treating colorectal cancer. Omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids have anti-inflammatory properties. You will find these omega-3 fatty acids in chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, and sea vegetables. These should be consumed regularly as part of your diet. You can consume walnuts and sea vegetables as snacks, and chia and flax seeds, you can add them to salads, soups, and any really type of food without really compromising the flavor of the dish. Also, vitamin D3 supplementation is important. One study published in the World Journal of Gastrointestinal Oncology concluded that vitamin D3 helped reduce the incidence of colorectal cancer by 50%. Because of its ability to regulate calcium and phosphate metabolism and inhibit tumor-promoting inflammation inside the colon. The best ways to increase vitamin D3 are through skin exposure to UVB rays of the sun. It's important to remember that too much exposure to sunlight can increase skin cancer, but you need to get sufficient levels. And to get healthy levels of this vitamin, please check out my video on vitamin D. You also want to include physical activity. When you live a sedentary lifestyle, you are more at risk for bowel cancer. One review and meta-analysis combining the results of many research articles concluded that exercise following a colorectal cancer diagnosis was associated with a lower risk of adverse events and improved health outcomes, which is very, very critical. These benefits were found irrespective of the exercise mode, duration, or timing. So you really want to do this. You want to incorporate physical activity into your life. I recommend committing to a low-intensity exercise plan that you can fit into your lifestyle at least 5 times a week. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe to this channel if you like this type of content. Also, visit my website, thegorilladiet.com, for anything to help you move your health and wellness to a better place for you. Thank you very much for joining.